Welcome to the Sharpe Way Show. So happy that you guys have joined me today. I appreciate the time you guys have given me, as you always do. Give me a little bit of time during your week. It is 7:30 p.m. I apologize, a little bit late this evening, but again, you can imagine I was jumping through hoops trying to get a bunch of stuff done, and I did get a bunch of stuff done, which is a good thing, I guess. But yes, in any case, I'm so glad that you have joined me this lovely Friday evening. I wanted to bring up what people are talking about. And I'm going to look at this from three different angles, if I could, and then finally get to New York, because I always got to get to New York. And some of you are like, you New York stuff. Yes, I do. But look right now what most media on the right has been talking about for the past week or so. There's exceptions, but as a general rule, they've been focusing on two important things. They've been focusing on crime and inflation. Other things too, but those have been like the two big things. If you ever watch any mostly right-wing media, you'll often hear those two things very common. Crime issues, security issues, inflation, right? Cost of doing business, stuff like that. A lot of that, it's a big piece, and people are talking about it. People care about it. Absolutely. Look at what the left is talking about. General rule. What are you hearing? January 6th and the Trump conspiracy and voting rights. These are the two big things the left is talking about. Important issues, voting rights for sure. These are all important things. People care about those things, right? They're pushing these things. People care about these things. Okay, so if you're left, you care about those things. If you're right, you probably care about those things. Okay, good. I get it. That's where we are right now. Biden did a press conference. And when the people started asking him questions, what were the questions about? Well, they were things like foreign policy, Russia, Ukraine, and stuff like that, student loans, build back better, division in the country, and gridlock and polling, stuff like that, right? Those are the things that people were talking about, whether that's left media, right media, or mainstream talking to the president. These were all the things that people were talking about again and again and again. And over the past couple of weeks, I think you've heard it, often, right? Student loans, these types of things that people in the country care about. Okay, great. I've tried to talk about these issues. Same. You've heard me speak about all these things, right? I talk about it also. Issues that I think are important to people, right? I'm trying very much to give things that matter to you that I think is important. Well, what do you think my governor wants to talk about? She's been talking a lot of stuff. And before I go to my governor, I'm going to go to my mayor first. And I'm going to give my mayor some credit. I know you may go, what? I'm going to give him some credit. He's trying to talk about things that New Yorkers care about too. He is also talking about crime and the image of crime and what's happening in New York State and getting people back to work and schools, right? So he is trying to talk about things that he believes New Yorkers really care about. That's what he's talking about. I'll give him that. I may not agree with what he's doing, but at least he is definitely speaking about it. But what is my governor talking about? What is she pushing as what's important? Well, I will show you. This is her today. Yes, today, and what she thought was valuably important.
I'm here, how exciting this is, but also to talk about where we're going with this pandemic. And the reason I want to do my update on the pandemic right here is because I believe that it's places like this where we'll find the answers, so no longer will we be paralyzed the way we...
Note, she is literally on Long Island. At a SUNY school, which is the State of New York University. State University of New York, SUNY school, out there on Long Island. And so the first thing we was talking about is COVID and the pandemic. Of all the things I talked about for the past 5 minutes, the left, the right, and Biden, this is what she chose to talk about. This is it. Now, she's at Stony Brook, right? Which is, again, for those you don't know, it's a university, a state-run university on Long Island. Didn't she, in her last time she spoke, talk about how bad the universities are? How you have to hire people because they're not talented? Remember, the staff is not talented enough. We have to hire better staff and train them better. She said this. She was talking about how bad they are. Now she shows up and says, they're the future. Where they're, everything's happening here. Didn't you just take a steaming dump on them about 2 weeks ago? Talking about how you have to make them better because they're so bad. Now they're good. And are you talking about education? No, you are talking about the pandemic and how we're paralyzed. I feel like other people aren't paralyzed. Like only we're paralyzed. Floridians aren't paralyzed. Texans aren't paralyzed.
We were back in March of 2020 and for months and now years beyond, where we were brought to our knees because we did not even have treatments or vaccines. And
we were brought to our knees because we didn't have treatments or vaccines. No, we were brought to our knees because your best friend, Andrew Cuomo, the former king, before he brought us to our knees and tried to bring some women enforcement to their knees, sadly. But yes.
Stony Brook, working with Brookhaven, have been at the forefront of the research that has helped us be where we are today. We have life-saving vaccines.
They've crushed us.
Asking the question, what's next? What's next on the horizon? Is there a way to analyze proteins in a different way and attack them so we are prepared should this happen again? We've had the warnings. We now know that we have to be proactive in being.
Oh, but you didn't know that before. I love that. We now know, right? This is the kind of stuff she says that no one even questions her. You know, we now know it. So before we thought we didn't have to be proactive when it came to diseases and such. It's right. We had never seen Ebola, SARS, the flu, never happened before. This is the kind of stuff she just says. And it's like, I figured it out. So now I guess you're the ones who just figured it out.
Anticipatory of what could happen in the future with respect to this pandemic. So it's great to be here. I will also give an update on where we are in numbers. And I want to thank all the research that's being done here.
You just took,
right here on Long Island. Yes.
Took a dump on them 2 weeks ago.
That's about as basic as I can say it, John.
Our budget that she put together, almost $220 billion budget, which I talked about earlier, right? This week, that budget she put together has billions to make SUNY better because it's so bad. She's saying this, and now she's like, I'm there. Aren't you guys great? You've saved us.
Okay, John, okay, we're done with that part. That's my knowledge. Red is, I hate this, they look kind of like chicken wings. I'm from Buffalo, so everything looks like a chicken wing. I don't know.
I guess really, that's funny.
I was here to launch an electron ion collider with Senator Schumer. That is going to be transformative.
God, now Schumer.
And we continue to draw.
God, they just love each other so much. They just love each other so much.
What we are seeing, you've seen me here in the past, and
it's like royalty.
Frequent stops, but here's a trend.
Okay, so the cases are going down. Now, I would bet if you looked at this chart from last year, you'd see a similar chart. I bet if you looked at this case, this chart, the form in many states, you'd see the same thing. What we're finally figuring out is that it spreads no matter what we do. That's what we're finally figuring out, right?
Scientists to see. Look at this. The trend is heading in the right direction. The 7-day average of cases is going down.
Isn't that what happened last year too?
We are at 28,296. That's a down from 90,000 since January 7th. In the same month, we're at 90,000 new cases.
Okay, I think that's great.
66.6% drop in 2 weeks. We have been waiting for this moment.
Yes.
We are finally trending.
But we've been doing the lockdowns and the masking and the vaccinating for 2 years.
The direction we want to go down, and that is downward, downward, downward. That's where I want to hit those numbers until we can get back.
You've done nothing. This is just what happens. It seems like every year.
Eternity ago, it's just November 26th when the World Health Organization actually gave a name to Omicron. And that is the exact day that I put forth an executive order to allow me to have emergency powers should I need to execute them.
She put an executive order allowing her to have executive powers. That's what she just said, right? That's the day. As soon as they said that, I wrote an executive order giving myself executive powers. That's awesome. I just declared myself God. I love that. That's brilliant.
So we can amass supplies and PPE as well as the testing.
Because there's no way the private sector would ever do that, right? If you want to make sure that we actually deliver things, right, you want to purchase items that people want and need, and then deliver them to those people efficiently and effectively. That's one thing the private market's terrible at, but government, awesome, right? I mean, I can't even imagine any company that will be able to deliver products that you want and or need to your home efficiently. That doesn't exist in the world, does it? I don't think anyone does that. I mean, no company whatsoever in the whole world can do that. But government, I guess, is the only answer. Clearly, I'm being facetious, but she says it with a straight face. I have to have executive powers to deliver stuff that's getting done every single day without me.
Kits, which we now have record numbers of. So that's extraordinary. Statewide testing is still going on. Some days we're at 300,000. We're at almost 300,000 right now. Let's look at Long Island while we're here, though.
Oh, look at Long Island.
We have about 3,500 cases in Long Island. We hit a peak of 14,000 on December 31st.
Cases.
So what a drop from 14,000 to 3,500, a 75% drop right here on Long Island.
Is this
so
what matters?
Positivity is going down. Our peak was January 2nd, 23% positivity. And that was what we had actually predicted when we saw people not changing their behavior for Thanksgiving, despite all of our warning. They gathered over the holidays.
Look, she's literally punishing you for gathering over the holidays. You know, we predicted it'd be bad when, you know, people were still being horrible and gathering for Thanksgiving and Christmas, you horrible human beings trying to be with your families. I've told you not to be with your families for 2 years, but you did it anyway. So I guess you deserve to get COVID and die. That's what she's smiling and saying that. Now, you know that would happen. So of course, but this just proves though, right? That it's still spreading, isn't it? Regardless. Am I wrong here? Hold on.
After the Christmas holidays. So for the first time since December 20th, we are for the first time in the single digits again. And that is something we're very excited about.
Because it happens every year exactly the same way.
A little bit higher, about 11%, but down from 27%.
Same every time.
We've dropped significantly in the last couple of weeks. But a lagging indicator is deaths, and we still have 154 people we lost their lives, and that is tragic. Still losing people right here on Long Island. So this is still to be taken very seriously.
I want you to hear what she just said. This is still to be taken very seriously. Now, all those hospitalizations, we already know. She said that at least half of those hospitalizations, she said, were not actually for COVID. These were hospitalizations with people who had COVID. So they went in for whatever, broken leg or a heart attack or something. They got tested, they had COVID. That's a COVID hospitalization. She said that. I'm not making this up. She said that. So we know that number's bogus, right? There's maybe half. Again, her words, not mine, just to be clear. She's also said that that means people who died, they died with COVID, not necessarily from COVID. So if you had a heart attack and died and you had COVID, that counts as a COVID death. I'm not making this up. She's already said this. She's going to cover it again, I think, in this one, if I remember right. But she said this already.
We are not letting our foot off the pedal until we can declare that we are in a place where we can manage without all the restrictions we put in place. But until then, we do believe that everything we're doing, continuing to keep socially distant, getting vaccinated and wearing the mask is making a big difference.
Now, she's saying it's all making a big difference. Getting vaccinated, wearing the mask. Okay. Now, if you've heard this, I mean, I hope you guys understand this. Again, I want to make sure none of this is what I'm saying. I'm saying what she and others have said. This is not my opinion on this, right? They're now telling you that you have to wear a high quality mask. They've admitted openly, excuse me, that the communication was bad and that masks don't work. Literally their words, right? They've said now, the masks don't work. You have to wear the N95 mask. And she, if you've seen her last one, she was wearing 2 masks. 2. The N95 plus a regular mask on top of it. Again, this is her doing it. Not me. N95 and a Buffalo Bills one. That's not bad, Buffalo Bills, but still. And that. Both of them she wears. And she's like, you know what? Oh my God, the mask has been working. You know that's not true. You know that's not true. And I'm not making this up. The data's already in. They're telling you this. They're also saying that it spreads either way. And what the vaccine does is the vaccine allows you, if you get the vaccine, that you won't have that bad of a reaction relatively. And of course, percentage depends on what other comorbidities you have. That's true. We all know this to be true. That's true. It doesn't stop you from getting it, nor does it stop you from spreading it. It stops you from having bad reactions or bad symptoms, statistically, compared to someone who hasn't. Get it? I'm in. I'm not against that. I think that's true. Everyone agrees with that. Why does she keep talking about masks and distancing when it comes to getting it? Hospitalizations, getting it. Cases, it's irrelevant. And she's still saying it. And people still, yeah, that's right, yeah. No, they're not related.
Our hospitalizations are down. That is what has been concerning. That's what kept me up at night, was whether or not we would have the capacity to handle the high number.
If you would have the capacity, two reasons why you don't have the capacity. Number one, bodies that you've been firing. And number two, you won't increase the number of hospital beds. Because the permanent capital that has bought up all the hospitals, who owns all the hospital groups, are like, I'm not making any more beds. Because if I make more beds, then when this COVID goes away, I'm going to lose money. I'm not joking. They actually believe that. Look, they're not doing it. Why would I build more hospital beds? Once COVID's done, then I'm going to lose money with all these open hospital beds. So what could you do? What I said early on, National Guard can build mobile hospitals that you can just take down, which you don't need them anymore. This way, private capital doesn't get upset that they have to build out more beds. You have to fight them, which you lose if you fought them. So don't bother fighting them. Have the National Guard build out the hospital, the field hospitals, and take them down when you're done. Not crazy. Could be done.
Of hospitalizations, we had 12,000, almost 13,000 cases just January 12th.
Cases.
And now we're down 1,100 to 1,100. So by region,
it's 11,000. That's fine.
You can see what's going on here. Long Island hit a very high number. That's that yellow one at the top there.
COVID hospitalizations
trending downward as well. And again, there's a leg of about 2 weeks for upstate New York. We're continuing to monitor upstate. We do have a lot of overwhelmed hospitals there. And we need to keep addressing that and deploying people. So just looking statewide.
Deploying people. This is even good too. She's
Long
trying to
Island,
deploy
New York
people.
City looking good. Mid-Hudson, these are all the numbers where there's been a change in the last 7 days. Look at that, down 24%.
Shouldn't we be so proud?
Here on Long Island.
It's what you did, right?
All the areas are trending downward except for a few. The southern tier has an increase. Central New York and the north.
Terrible southern tier people. What you doing?
Adjusting hospitalizations.
You listen to what your Lord of Master tells you.
Cannot do elective surgeries because we need that capacity. So
can't do elective surgery. She's still stopping you from doing elective surgery. Think about that. The governor decides what surgeries you can have. Now you might go, well, Larry, it matters because this, that, and the other thing. Okay, what if you're wealthy? I hope all of you watching are wealthy. Sadly, I know we all aren't. But if you're wealthy and Her Majesty says you may not get elective surgery, what do? You get in a plane or drive or get in your private jet if you're very wealthy, and you go to some state and you get what you want done because you're wealthy. What happens when you're not wealthy? You're screwed. All this does is punish the working poor and middle class. The very poor aren't getting elective surgeries done. The working poor and the middle class they don't get to have them. And then who decides what's an elective surgery? Is fixing your knee an elective surgery? Your elbow? Is that elective surgery? What if you're a laborer and you need that knee? What if you just want to walk around with your kids and enjoy your life and you think that getting your knee fixed is important to you? She's decided, no, sit on that bum knee for 2 more years. I don't care how much damage it does. I don't care if you can't hang out with your grandkids. Go to hell. Oh, you're wealthy? Go to Texas and get your stuff done. This is what actually happens. It sounds reasonable, but think about it. It's 2 years. 2 years for you not to have surgeries that she deems elective. Think about that. This is the state we live in. And that's what she's talking about. No one else is talking about this. Other people aren't discussing. CNN, MSNBC, Fox, mainstream media, Biden, they're not talking about this. She is. So all she's got.
We're doing well overall statewide. And another issue that we raised a couple weeks ago was
Oh, yeah.
the
Listen to this
question, is everybody who's in the hospital for COVID, as we're identifying as in there for COVID, did they go to the hospital because they were so sick with COVID, they need to be in a hospital?
So look at this. She literally says, she first thought, oh, hospitalization, 11,000, so-and-so, thousands and tens of thousands. And after, oh, by the way, 43%. Her words right there, 43.5%. Yeah, not really COVID. Not for COVID. That's almost half. And you know, there's going to be some people who are just scared. So half of the people in the hospitalizations that she's validating her horrible policies on are not for COVID. They simply have COVID and probably didn't even know they had COVID, except when they went to the hospital, they got tested. Why? Why? Because you want them to. So you force the hospitals to, or you won't pay them so you can have your numbers up so you can keep doing this. So you can keep doing this. I'm telling you, late spring, early summer, they're going to declare victory, and she's going to say she's Eisenhower, and she led us personally on the D-Day invasion and destroyed the Nazis. Watch this happen.
Or did they go there for another purpose? You know, maybe they had a heart attack or were in a car accident, something happened, and they all get tested, and they happen to be tested positive for COVID without the symptoms. So the question was, how severe is this? And that's why we're the first state to identify that there should be a separate way of calculating. So right now, about 43% of COVID patients are admitted for non-COVID reasons. They're just in the hospital because of that. So that is another indicator that, yes, people are hospitalized with it. There's, as you can see, the lower number. Upstate New York, it's much higher. But here on Long Island, about 50.
So what does that tell you? It's not that serious. But she said, got to be so serious. Oh, my God, you got to be so serious. Taking this seriously. Why? Half the people who are going in don't even know they have COVID.
8% of people are admitted because of COVID, and the rest are lower. So that's a trend we're watching as well.
Yes.
I do want to announce today that we're
deploying
more people to nursing homes. Why nursing homes?
Why?
The incredible vulnerability of our nursing homes.
Yes, we did. And you were there when that happened. And you know what you said? Nothing. You said not a thing. That's what you said.
When the original COVID-19 hit, it just went through nursing homes like wildfire.
Yeah.
And we have kept a close eye on our nursing homes to make sure.
Oh, now you got a close eye.
Plenty of test kits. We deployed test kits. Vaccinations required that people be vaccinated who work there. Booster.
But I've thought that we've all agreed that whether the people that are vaccinated or boosted or not, they can still spread it, right?
Shots. And now we're realizing that the staff are exhausted. They've been overworked, and we literally have to send in the National Guard to help in a number of our nursing homes.
So we have to send the National Guard in. That sounds amazing, doesn't it? It does. But where does the National Guard come from? Well, nationally, right? No, the National Guard comes from New York. You're just moving New Yorkers from place one to place B. Place A to one to B, 1 to 2, or A to B. That's all you're doing. You're not bringing in people from Massachusetts. We can't do that because we won't relax our licensing rules. So we can't bring in people from other states because
even in New York City,
New York,
who need help. They need some relief. So we already had about 120 medically trained National Guard members in there. Now we're deploying 88 non-medical because we just need the extra set of hands in our nursing homes to give out.
Yeah, but they're not medical.
Frontline staff. That's starting very shortly. And we're going to be rolling that again upstate as well. It's again, that's just another reminder that this is not over. We still have.
Yeah, because you fired people. That number, you fired more than 88, right? So if you just didn't fire the people for not getting vaccinated, they spread it anyway and have been on the front line for 2 years, or year and a half, right? 2 years now, coming to 2 years. They've already been in the front line. They've already got COVID already. Every place else in the world knows that once you get COVID, you actually have antibodies. So and they've all got it already because they've been in the front line for a year and a half. So if you wouldn't have fired those people, you wouldn't have to bring in the National Guard, which is now more of an expense. They make less money. You make you spend more money and you have less trained, qualified people. This is lose, 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 and she's smiling like she's winning.
Have stressed out, overworked healthcare workers who
Yeah.
are on the front lines. They've been there since March of 2020.
Yep.
Always waiting for that silver lining, and it just has not been coming. So
You have not given them that.
Just to amplify that, when I was trying to assess what resources I could deploy into hospitals, nursing homes.
Why were you doing that? This is a very important question. Why in the world is the governor of New York, assessing what resources go to what hospital? Think about how backward that is. Think about how stupid that is. I mean, just how actually dumb that is. Why is a governor doing this? Are you telling me hospital administrators don't know how to do this? They have no idea? Hospital administrators who do this every single day, they have no idea, but she knows better? And then why should she? Where in her job description does it say, and the governor of New York will run all the hospitals and decide who gets what when it comes to our health care? But we accept this as the norm. And I'm bringing this up for several reasons. One, she is focusing on this. No one else is. It's just her. And the worst part is New Yorkers love her. Yes. She's getting approval ratings like there's no tomorrow. New Yorkers are like, yep, this is exactly what we want. We want Mama Kathy, our queen, telling us what surgeries we can get. It blows my mind, the polling that she gets, and that everyone else is dropping out because they can't beat her. De Blasio's gone. Giovanni Williams is still there. We'll see if Swazi stays in. We'll see if he stays in. But we'll see. It is crazy. Let me grab a couple of comments. You guys are commenting a bit. I want to grab a couple of comments first if I can keep going. And I'll show you a little bit more that you may enjoy. But let me grab a couple. So, all right. Let's see here. Shelley says, according to people who don't know us, we libertarians will never be normal. It's true. Absolutely true. Yes. Armin Atlas says, hey, Larry, thanks for coming on the show. Absolutely, my friend. I appreciate it. Yes. MC says, you got my vote already, Larry. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate it. Yes, absolutely. Ryan says, hey, Larry, good to see you, hear you. I've been AWOL for a bit. I'm glad you're back. Absolutely. Yes. Avi says, Larry, did you see today that Hochul tweeted that due to mandated masks and vax, that we have improved our COVID numbers, and that's why we need to continue with all these super mandates? Yes, I'm going to cover that. She says that here. It is insane. And people are buying it. Like the worst part, Avi, is not that she said it. I'm not shocked that she would say it. I'm surprised how many people are like, yeah, oh my God, yeah. That's the disappointing part. I expect her to do this stuff. She's shown us who she is. She will do this. But why are so many New Yorkers like, yeah, oh my God, right, yeah, yes. And you say, Avi, she has no intention of ending the crisis and wants it to be forever. I don't think so. I think she's going to declare victory at one point and then claim that she did it all, right? Without her, we'd all be dead. I do think she's going to decide when it's over, and she's going to act like that's it. She did it all. That's what I think. Yes. All right. Sam says, make sure you like, subscribe, and share. YouTube was dodgy today about notification for the show. Yeah, it's always. I get shadow banned like there's no tomorrow, Sam. Thank you for that. Yes. Constantly. They just decide that I'm fake news, and they just decide that I'm that, and they just start, deciding that I know people who've been part of my world for literally years, followed my Facebook page, and didn't even know I was considering running for governor. That wasn't even a thing. Like, had no idea. Yes, it's terrible. Dan says Missourians aren't paralyzed. I know. Yes, absolutely. Glenn says, Larry, you said the educational system in New York is a steaming pile of. The education system in New York is a steaming pile of shit. Yes, it is. Sorry, it just is. Absolutely. Ivy says Eric Adams is sadly only slightly better than de Blasio. I agree, right? I was hoping he'd be better than he is, but he is better than de Blasio. To be forward, though, as all of you guys who live in New York City know, literally anybody, is better. De Blasio, that bar is on the floor. Just kind of roll over it, and you've gone over the bar of de Blasio. He was a terrible mayor. So anybody is better than, it doesn't matter who. Pick a random person off the street and go, hey, you, I don't know your name if you speak English, I don't care. You're the mayor. They would be better than de Blasio. right? So the bar is very low, but Eric Adams is absolutely over that bar. That's true. Yes, absolutely. Ryan says, New York governor, the great paralyzer. It's true. Yes, absolutely. Bridget says, with the mandates, we had the highest number in the country. How are people so damn stupid? Bridget, yes, thank you for that. Yes, thank you for that. Sam says, I call BS on SUNY schools being at the forefront of anything, let alone the COVID-19. Legit, they didn't make a single vaccine or therapeutic, and they mask mandate despite no proof of effectiveness. Yes, yes, and yes. This is her pandering. She knows that this, and you guys are going to be upset when I say this. SUNY schools in New York are at best mediocre. And you might be, oh, how can the governor say that? I'm not going to pander. They're at best mediocre. In fact, most colleges across the country are at best mediocre. So this isn't an attack specifically on SUNY. It's an attack on most colleges. Most colleges are at best mediocre in general. SUNYs aren't that great. They're mediocre like all the rest. So to act like they're doing everything, they're not. You're completely correct, Sam. You're completely correct. Yes. So Bonnie says, finally, someone who isn't spawning nonsense. Thank you, Bonnie. I appreciate that. Yes. So let's see. Dan says, sadly, even in a state as red as Missouri, there's still pockets of people living in their own little COVID world trying to gin up pandemic theater. These people would love for her to be their governor. Yes. Yes. Absolutely. Yes. Avi says, Larry, did you see that now Broadway shows are being canceled because they can't fill up theaters? Well, you make it hard and impossible for people to travel and to get there. You have a city that literally they're literally killing people on the subway. Yes. You've got crime, mandates, everything is tough. Why would you go? You're scaring everyone to death. You got a governor saying how it's still serious, lockdown, stay home. Yes, absolutely, 100%. He continues, how do the people in charge of the city not see that all these mandates discouraging people from enjoying everything the city offers? I don't know if they even care, Avi. New York City is in a death spiral, yes. And the people in charge don't seem to care and congratulate themselves, yes. Southern New Yorkers have dedicated themselves to a life of martyrdom just to collect the virtue signaling participation trophy from the woke left. Too bad. So true. Yes. Rebecca says, yep, the UK and Ireland are lifting all mandates and restrictions, totally free. And they have the same backstory as New York. Yes. So Singapore, Norway, Sweden never had any. Yes. And the rates are the same, if not worse. Yes. 100%. 100%. What the vaccines do well is the odds are you will not go to the hospital. The odds are, or whatever would have happened to you, it will be a whole lot less. Your symptoms will be a whole lot less if you're vaccinated. That's true. It's not stopping the spread. The masks are theater. They're not stopping the spread. The distancing isn't stopping the spread. We can see that. So, Jeremy says things are looking up, but let's fire more healthcare workers. Nothing more than a manufactured crisis. Yes, the healthcare worker crisis is manufactured. It's not a thing. We've made that up because we won't create more beds when we could. We fire healthcare workers when we shouldn't, and we can bring people from other states in, but we don't. 100% true. It is manufactured. This is something that should not exist. Yes. So Rebecca says, all people watching the stream, please share to your own pages, spread the message. Yes, please. She is correct. Thank you, Rebecca. I appreciate that. Please, guys, like, comment, and share. It does matter. The more you do it, the more people see it, the more this moves forward. And hopefully we get past the point to where we get shadow banned anymore and we can make things happen. I would appreciate it if you could. And of course, also support our sponsors, libertarianism.com. Click that specific link if you don't mind. It's in the description. Click that link, share that link around. Take some of the cool tests, pick up some of the cool swag. They support the show. We do it because they're able to allow us to do it. So please, if you could support it, it would help tremendously. Thank you. I do appreciate that. Absolutely. So let me grab a couple more comments here. All right. David says, so governors and presidents, as long as they're Democrats, can issue executive orders granting emergency powers. Yes. What's next? You're going to say there's a time when we should hear the certain calls because the world, it seems right in this line. There's a time when the curtain calls because there were. I don't know where you're going with that one. I'm sorry. Did I miss something, David? You have to help me out with that one. That one, I don't know where you're going. I don't know the reference. I must have missed it. So, yes. All right. Kurt says, November can't come soon enough. I agree. Yes, absolutely. David says, don't worry, Larry. COVID will end in time for the midterms. That's my point. See, Avi, I'm with David. See, we are together on this one. They're going to end it before the midterms and take total credit. Like the Democrats saved everybody, right? Democrats saved everybody. Republicans were killing people. Democrats saved everybody. That's what they're going to say. That will be the story. The question is, will people believe it? Will Americans believe it? New Yorkers are going to believe it. We see it already. But will the rest of the country believe it? If the rest of the country believes this story, this is what they're going to tell, Democrats going to do better. If they don't believe it, Democrats are going to get killed. So there's the issue. That's the story they're going to tell. We'll see who believes it. Go so crazy, please. That's funny. Shelley says Karen Hochul doesn't realize that Karen is no longer a thing. Very good, Karen Hochul. That's good. I like that. Yes, that's very good. All right. Glenn says not letting our foot off the pedal, aka not taking the boot off of your neck. I would agree with that. Absolutely. Yes. Jana says we knew the mask didn't work. That's correct. Yes. Tom says 2 masks and her vaccine rosary. Yes. Works totally. I agree. Yes. Bonnie says, before it was, if you don't want to wear your mask, get vaccinated. I remember that. That's right. Yes, I remember that. Yes. Glenn says, put the placebo on and shut your mouth, slaves. I wish that wasn't true. I wish that wasn't true. Let me finish this up. I'm going to give you a couple more of things that she said. It isn't that long. Then she has some Q&A, which is also embarrassing.
Places to administer vaccines. I said, why not send in the National Guard?
That's her answer for everything. Why not send the National Guard? Why not? I heard that someone, car's broken. Send in the National Guard. I heard some kids, they're not being taught. Send in the National Guard. That's just an unlimited resource of people I could just send out. That's what they signed up for. When you join the National Guard, you're like, I'm joining the National Guard, so I can do whatever Kathy Hochul tells me to do.
Send them in for everything.
Yes.
But I realized that many of them were not medically trained. So
they're not medically trained. I wonder, was there somebody who was saying how you can't use the National Guard for all of this because they're not medically trained? Who was talking about that months ago? That was, me. I'm the one who said that. You can't just throw random people because they happen to have stripes of a sergeant that now they all of a sudden know surgery or something. It's not how it works. There is very specific training. Those of you who are veterans know. Many veterans, not all, but many are taught how to handle trauma. I was as a Marine. I still remember most of it. I know how to handle trauma. That's not medical. That's not medicine. There are 2 separate things. And I'm not even like super trained. I'm trained enough. I'm trained enough that I could probably keep you alive till the EMTs come. That's about it. That's about all. And maybe not, but probably. You get shot, you lose a limb. I probably could get you until the ambulance comes. I probably could. But that's as far as I can go. It takes serious training to deal with these things. Serious training, years of experience and training. That's why these medical personnel are so valuable. They have all that training and experience. Some sergeant, some corporal, how the hell are they going to know this? Not that I'm mad at sergeants and corporals. I was both of those things. I was with a sergeant and a corporal. And I'm not putting them down. I'm just saying, how can they know this? They have regular jobs during the day, right? They're working in an accounting firm, and all of a sudden now they're going to come off and work in a hospital? I mean, it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense.
Literally, for the first time ever, we're requiring the National Guard to be trained to be able to handle medical cases.
First time ever. So now you could, I'm going to say something crazy. You could do 2 things. I know I'm nuts, Your Majesty, with respect, if you could hear me. Number 1, you could just let people from out of state in. That would be one thing. 2, you could not fire people. Those are 2 things you can do without having to wait to train people, right? How long is training going to take?
Administer vaccines, and our first class is going to graduate from that training in a matter of a couple of weeks. So I'm excited. So
a couple of weeks, because, 2 things about that. And again, she's proud of this. I'm proud you're going to graduate in a couple of weeks. Number 1, if you train someone for a couple of weeks, how good are they? Do you want that person taking care of someone you love? Maybe you don't care. Me, I would like someone with some experience. That's just me. I would like someone who's seen this before, dealt with it, maybe had some schooling, maybe learned a few things, spent some time in the ER. I would prefer that, right? But okay, maybe you don't care. But the second piece is, it's already going down. What's going to be in 2 weeks? Even lower? Now we're here. Now that everything's going down, we'll have our first and then our second, and they'll all be trained for nothing.
About that. That is a new shift. So even if it's a a flooding situation, a hurricane where you need people with medical help, our National Guard will literally be able to be there to support the EMTs and the first responders. So we're excited about that as well.
We're excited about that.
I mentioned tests a couple times.
Yeah, you did. Couple.
We have already secured 73 million tests. Here, this talked about by the president. We were all over this early on. Again,
No, you
November
weren't.
26th, started seeing.
Okay, you weren't on this early on. It's 2 years in, and now you have more tests on the way. That's literally not early on. That's literally late. The first tests were garbage. Remember that? You wouldn't let anyone else have tests, but they were bad. They didn't work. You forgot that part? I didn't forget that part. I was talking about that 2 years ago. So you weren't early, so please stop. Yet again, I don't think she realizes she's lying. I think she just has created this fantasy in her head and just keeps talking. I find it hard to believe that she's actively realizes that she's lying. She might actually believe this stuff.
What was happening in South Africa and other countries, realizing that this could get wildly out of control on short time. So we've already distributed over 16 million tests, 10 million to our schools. Why to our schools? Critical. Because I said after the winter break, when kids all go back after being in a fairly safe environment in school, but now they've been with their families and older siblings coming back from college and aunts.
See that? The school, government school is safe. Your house, death trap. How dare you go back to your house? Stay in your government schools.
Uncles, we could be in trouble in our schools, so we ensured that every school.
How in the world can we be in? I mean, think if this makes any sense. And if you guys think I'm wrong, hammer me in the chat. She's saying we could be in trouble in school. Yet she said more than once, it's the safest place to be. Eric Adams says, safest place to be. So why are you worried about testing in schools? You're saying the safest place. Not just that. Throughout the entire two years we've been dealing with this COVID-19, across the entire world, and I mean the whole world, I don't know of one time, and if someone knows, please correct me if I'm wrong here. I don't know of one time of a school being a super spreader, ever. Through the entire country, the entire world. Sweden has about 2 million, is that about right, students in their country, give or take about 2 million. They never had a lockdown. No kids died of COVID. Zero. Not one kid out of 2 million. None died of COVID. They never had a lockdown in Sweden. Never did it. Said the hell with it, we're not doing it. They've never been super spreaders. We've had some deaths in America, right? But what's the average for a child? They have, I think the minimum is like 4 comorbidities or something like that for a kid to die of COVID. Some number like that. I forgot what the number is, but it's a high percentage. You have to have a bunch of comorbidities as a kid to die of COVID. But it does happen. But never have they been super spreaders. And you're worried about testing in schools. Literally, this makes zero sense. No sense at all. And people are like, yeah, it's good. Test my kids in school. Why?
Private and public had the test to be able to send home with students so they can literally have them for the parents to test them. If someone in a classroom tests positive, they don't all have to isolate for 10 days anymore. Go home the next day, test again, come back if you're negative.
So to be clear, if the kid gets tested positive in school, the safest place, send them home where it's not safe, where they have parents and stuff. So stay home if you're COVID positive, where your family and friends are, where it's not safe, where older people are. Stay there. Don't stay in the school where you're telling me it's safe and the kids don't get it. Who are you protecting with that? Who are you protecting? Teachers. Am I wrong? You're protecting teachers, not family. You're not protecting family when you send the COVID kid home. Well, he's tested. Great. Now he's tested, and we're sure he has COVID that he just gave to everybody else at his home. He spends more time at home, more chance to get more people ill at home versus spending more time in school, which everyone tells me and I see as the safest place. If I'm off on this, guys, please hammer me in the comments. I'm happy to be wrong on this. What is this logic? And you don't have to tell them 10 days. Now it's 5. Why? Why? What changed? It used to be 14 days. Now it's 5 days. Why?
Stay home if you're positive. So it's been part of our effort to keep our children in schools because we saw how devastating the effect of having them work remotely for such a long time was.
So we saw how horrible it was for them to work remotely. So let's keep sending them home remotely. So let's make it random so that no parents can figure out how to work. Listen to your point, Avi. How can you figure out how to work? How can you have a work schedule when if one kid in the school pops positive, your kid pops positive, your kid has to stay home? Where are you going to find that childcare? Where are you going to find? You're going to stay home from work? You think bosses are okay with that now? It's changing everything because of this stupid idea. Why? I don't get it. Why? This makes no sense.
And that's an issue we're addressing in our budget as well. So we're getting those out to child care centers. All the counties have been grateful. I talked to our county executive, Steve Vallone, about getting more to them.
Stop. They're not grateful. Stop. They're grateful because you keep giving them money, because none of them have any money left. They can't make any taxes. You still have unfunded mandates. The counties have no money. They're just happy that you give them crumbs. They're not happy about you. They're happy because the Nassau County guy is actually going against your regulations already. He's like, I'm done. No more.
Hands-on and ensuring that there were no shortages of tests available for people in the state of New York.
But think about that. The governor is, her words, hands-on, making sure there's no shortage of tests for anyone in the state of New York. Why is the governor doing this? That's the most important thing for you to do? Is that? I guess so.
Vaccines, we're still trying to get those numbers up, focusing on our kids. We need more children in that 5 to 11-year-old age.
Why? I'll ask again. Seriously, why? Why do we require so many kids 5 to 11? Why is that a big deal? If you're over 65, the number of people vaccinated is something like 90 some odd percent. I don't remember the number. It's like 90 some odd percent are vaccinated, right? And it doesn't stop the spread. So why would I want the child to be vaccinated when they hardly ever get it, never been a super spreader? And so why would I want a child to be vaccinated? There's virtually no chance of them having serious illness, virtually none, unless they have multiple comorbidities, in which case, if you're a parent of a child and you know your child has multiple comorbidities, shouldn't you vaccinate your child? I would hope you would. It would make sense. I wouldn't want to force you, but I hope if your child has multiple comorbidities or has some issue with their immune system, look, you know your kid far better than I do. Obviously, she knows your kid better than you do, but I would not claim that. You would choose the right thing for your child. I'm going to say something that may sound controversial. I think that the vast majority of parents don't want their kids to die. I know I'm being brave saying that. I know I am, but I'm going to stand by that. I think the vast majority of parents do not want their kids to die. And I think the vast majority of parents love their kids more than she does, more than our governor does. I'm brave, I know, but that's what I'm going to go out on a limb and say that. Maybe I'm crazy.
Group, you can see the numbers upward, but they kind of stabilize. I want to see those much, much higher. So please, parents, if you've not done this, there's still plenty of time, and we're continuing to focus on our.
Are we sacrificing our youth for our elderly? I brought this up many times in the past, and I feel like we are. Am I exaggerating on this? Am I wrong? And that's how it feels to me. How is this helping our children? I feel like it isn't, right? What we're doing is we're shooting the kids up so that the kids, I guess, don't give it to the elderly, but they do anyway. They still give it anyway, even though, again, the vaccine does not stop the spread. It stops you getting hurt. So since it doesn't stop the spread, aren't we just shooting our kids up for nothing? They're not going to get really sick. Again, unless your kid has specific issues, in which case, please vaccinate your kid. But am I wrong?
Vax to school efforts, Vax to school, let's keep the kids in school. And so now we're announcing new pop-ups, places where parents,
Jesus.
Yes, take your
what
kids.
What a colossal waste of money.
And these are sites all over.
Our budget is almost $220 billion.
Testing and vaccination.
Hundreds of billions of dollars of deficit and debt.
Boosters.
And our answer is this.
Trying to get more up there.
Avi
Long
just
Island
says you
has,
can't even get
a
Broadway.
large number of people boosted, but
They're
also,
canceling Broadway.
statewide, we're at about
We can't get people to come
5.5
back to our
million.
state.
There is no reason people are not boosted. And this Omicron variant,
The data's in on Omicron. The boosters don't work well on Omicron. They work well on they work better on Delta. They don't work well on Omicron. Data's already in. There's lots of reasons.
showed us that those who were vaccinated and boosted had a much lower chance of being hospitalized.
Yes.
Yes, a lot of people got it. We all know the stories.
Everyone got it. She's even saying it. It's like she doesn't hear what she just
sister,
said.
my son right now, they weren't
Son
with
got
me,
it.
they lived
Sister
somewhere
got
else,
it.
but they're not that sick. They're just gonna be home for a few days. And otherwise, the
Yes.
hospitals with people with COVID are the ones filled with ones, particularly our kids. 91% of children hospitalized are children who are not vaccinated. And
Yes, not vaccinated. 91% of what? 5 kids? And then at least half of those kids went in because it wasn't because of COVID. Wow. She's just saying stuff and everyone's going, yeah, great. So
that's
glad.
entirely preventable. So let's remind people that this is still something we have control of. We did
Yes.
not have this a year ago. This was not widely available.
But we
And
had
over
the
this
same
time, we
spike
just
last
talked about
year,
getting them
didn't
into
we?
essential workers and nursing homes, and everyone's saying, when am I finally going to get my availability of a vaccine? They are plentiful. There are no excuses.
No one's
and
saying
the
that.
Boosters give you that extra suit
No
of
one's
armor
saying that.
around. So let's wrap up.
Yes.
Trending in the right direction.
Yes.
We're not through the surge yet, but
Of
boy,
course
those
not.
numbers look good, and I'm really excited again.
Not until
thank
right
everyone
before the
here.
election.
If you wanna
Summer.
put a spotlight
Late
or
spring, early summer.
synchrotron-like source on the work that's being done right here, because you are
Yes.
at the forefront. The individuals, the smartest people on the planet who gather here at Brookhaven.
With the smartest people on the planet. Does she realize how bad she's pandering? I think she just does it, right? She's accustomed to being the lieutenant governor and not getting so much, spotlight. You can just pander all day long and nobody cares. So she just panders. You're the smartest people on the planet now here. But 2 weeks ago, she's like, yeah, we got to retrain everybody and hire teachers because you all suck. But now she's
made a difference. And I want everyone to know that your research and development and working with
has done nothing for COVID
pharmaceutical
whatsoever.
companies
None,
have
not a
been
thing.
so instrumental in allowing people like
Absolutely
myself
not
to
true.
say, we will get through this. So I want to
100%
thank
not true.
Brookhaven and Stony
Just
Brook
made
and
up.
all of our partners in the medical research field for what we're doing and what you continue to do. So thank you, everyone, and I appreciate
Now we take
you
some terrible
joining us today
questions.
for our update.
So hold on. Let me she's about to do some Q&A, but let me do some comments here if I could while she does that. So yes. All right. Let's see here. Christine says newly backed people shed the spike protein, masked or not. I caught COVID from a coworker that got jabbed and came to work. Ouch. Gail says, can't wait till Larry Sharpe's governor. I appreciate that. Yes. John says, Larry, love what you do. Thank you, my friend. I appreciate that. Absolutely. All right. Dan says, I may need to wear shades with my mask to cover eye rolling. This pandemic really is getting worse. I like that. Yes. Yes. Ryan says, just like Cuomo, she says what the emperor tells her. I'm not sure. Maybe. So, all right. Let's see here. Bonnie says, sounds like socialism to me. Yeah, kind of. Jeremy says, on day 4 of COVID right now, those at-home tests that the school district sent home are complete trash. Ouch. We all tested negative on them with symptoms twice, only to test positive on a rapid later that day. Oh, that sucks. I'm sorry to hear that. I really had hoped that they actually were at least decent tests. I mean, that's sad. Yes. And Jeremy continues, people are so excited for the free tests, though. Yeah, they're free, Jeremy, until we're paying extra taxes to make sure it's all broken. Shelly says, I've been living for 2 years with a broken jaw, elective surgery. Oh, Shelly, I had no idea. That's terrible. But that's my point. Someone decides what's elective. You don't get to decide. They do. And how is that okay? Kurt says, in 2020, when they shut down elective surgeries, cancer patients were not allowed to have tumors removed. I remember that. Breast biopsies to check for cancer were banned. People died unnecessarily. Yes. Yes. You're totally correct. Ryan says, no, Larry, shows that the progressives saved the world. Yeah, I think that's right. Yep, that's true. Yes. Avi says, if Hochul is so adamant about enforcing these mandates, why did she have nothing to say when AOC went down to Miami to live it up in the sun while New Yorkers were told to lock themselves at their homes? But she hates any New Yorker who just wants to mind their business and live their life. Yes. Yes. Her hatred for the citizenry, which pays her fat salary so she can live like a queen, is sickening. You know, Avi, I got to tell you, I've met so many politicians who don't like their constituents. I'm surprised. That's why so many don't do what I'm doing, right? Don't go back and forth and talk. Yeah, they don't. So James says, is there any way you can turn up the volume when you show videos? Sometimes I can. But sometimes I can't. Depends on where I get the video from. I should check that more. Thank you, Kenny. I will check that to make sure I'm getting the right one. Yes. Thank you for that. I'm glad. Yes. All right. Let's see here. Christine says, you can stop firing the unjabbed. Yes, that would work. I agree completely. Yes. Tom says, the best part of this whole thing is telling me someone with COVID can return to the hospital to work. Someone without vaccines and without COVID can't. Oh. Tom, that's very good. You're right. So I can go back to work. I have COVID. It's fine. I got vaccinated. But I don't have a vaccine, but I don't have COVID. I can't work. Yep. Absolutely. Yes, absolutely. Jonathan says, wait, New Yorkers love her? Downstate, I assume. And remember, it's not downstate. A lot of New Yorkers think it's upstate versus downstate. It's not. It is urban versus rural, right? So all the cities love her. Buffalo loves her. Syracuse loves her. Rochester loves her. Albany loves her. And, of course, New York City loves her. So all the cities. Ithaca loves her. Yes, it's all the cities. And she's doing very well. She really is. Yes. Samantha says New York is hopelessly blue. We can hopefully fix that and turn it gold this year. I hope. Yes, absolutely. Shelley says deploy means to send something or someone to a particular location. Employ is to pay people to do quality work. You deployed our healthcare professionals out of their jobs. Ooh. Wow, my chat is brilliant. You guys are great. I love this. Yes, you're completely correct. It's exactly right. So they lose their regular jobs to go do this terrible job they don't want to do. Yes, absolutely. Rekha says, speaking of the election, do you have any updates for your campaign? Are you going to the NYLP nominating convention in February? I've been getting their emails listing candidates to support, and you're not on it. They're only listing GOP candidates. You have not been getting their emails. The emails you're getting is from the Libertarian Club of New York or something. That's not the Libertarian Party of New York. That's a separate club based out of, I think, Nassau County, if not mistaken. And they're a fine club if you want to listen to their club. It's awesome. They are not the Party of New York. They would like to be the Party of New York. They are not. The Libertarian Club of New York is a separate club. The Libertarian Party of New York is the actual party in New York State, the one that I was able to put together when I was able to get ballot access in 2018. So they're two separate organizations. Please join one or both of them, whatever, or none of them, whatever is appropriate. Just understand they're separate organizations. And all they care about is Republicans. They don't care about anybody but Republicans. So if you like Republicans, you can join the Libertarian Club of New York and you'll get tons of Republicans. Good for you. But yes, I will be at the nominating convention in February. I believe it's February 19th and 20th. I think that's correct. I will be there. And hopefully I'll get the nomination. I'd be surprised if I don't. But anything's possible. I hope I will. So yes, thank you. All right. Let's see here. Glenn says, who thought it would be a good idea to have a chart saying positivity is going down? Well, I like that. That's good. Christine says, moving to Missouri this spring. Aw, I'm losing so many people. So many people. Yes, it's bad. Juan says, hey, Juan, I'm in Florida visiting mom, and what a difference. Everything's back to normal, and everyone's so happy. No masks, no mandates. I know. That's why everybody runs to Florida. That's why they do it. And she's making it worse. More people are going to be leaving. Yes, absolutely. So let's see here. Tom says, I don't think Democrats can outrun the label mandate party or anti-student party. Sadly, politics is heavily emotional, Tom. And I think it depends upon what narrative lands. And again, what percentage of people buy it? There's a percentage of people who would never vote Democrat no matter what, and a percentage who are going to vote Democrat no matter what, right? Those groups are stuck. It doesn't matter what Democrats do. Those two groups are already set. It's how many people who aren't paying attention, who will jump on board at the last minute, who are kind of checked out. How many of those people will come in and then buy the narrative or not? If there are millions who will buy it, they're going to do well. If they don't buy it, they're going to do poorly. So yes. So, all right. Let's see. Joel says, I heard the term branch Covidians today. Oh, that's good. I like that. Branch Covidians. That's good. Yes. I like that. Jeremy says, I'm sending the New York National Guard to New York. Thank you, Jeremy. Yes. It sounds like it's nationals that are coming out of DC or something. No, this is New Yorkers. Yes. Absolutely. Yes. It's yes. Yes. Glenn says, I was trained to handle trauma in the Army. Yes, exactly. Many veterans, right? Many of us, if you're a veteran, you remember, you're okay to deal with trauma. That we can handle. We're trained to deal with that, right? Somebody gets shot. Someone loses an arm from an IED, right? We can handle trauma. That's not medicine, right? And for those of you in the medical, world, there's a difference between trauma and medicine. They're two separate things, both valuable, both important, but very different. And it's a whole lot easier to train someone to deal with trauma than to be a nurse or even an EMT or doctor or PA, whatever. It's a whole lot easier to train someone to handle trauma. Way different. And again, I'm not against people who are good at trauma. That's important. But this isn't trauma. This is medicine. Two separate issues. Yes, two separate issues. So, all right. Let's see here. If I can grab a couple more of these. Sam says, I'm not surprised about self-delusion. I'm horrified at the sheer number of people who hear her and ignore reality and smile and cheer all the time. Yes, absolutely. Yes. David says, kids are more likely to get shot in school than home. Solution, ban schools. Not a bad idea. So yes, absolutely. Michael says they're probably worried teachers, some of them are old, to be honest. Yeah, and you know what? I'm actually not upset about that, right? If I'm actually okay with that concept. Just be clear. Say, look, we have a lot of teachers who are elderly, who may have comorbidities. We don't want them getting sick. Okay, then provide an answer for those teachers. I'm actually okay with that, right? I mean, it may be true. I don't know enough teachers and what the demographics of teachers are in New York State, but I could get that. That would make sense at least. And come clean and go, look, the kids are fine. Well, we've got some teachers, our population, they're elderly, and I don't know if that's true. I'm making this up for sake of argument. Assuming that's true, and we're worried about them. Okay, then let's find a way to protect those teachers. Way better than saying, shut the schools down or send kids home. That makes no sense at all. So, yes. Renee says, why can't I work as a nurse of 20 years because I'm unvaccinated, but as a positive COVID nurse and go back to work for 5 days or before the facility is short-staffed? Yes, Brandy. Make it make sense. I worked a year and a half through the pandemic to be told I can't work anymore. The amount of stories I've heard about that drive me crazy. It makes no sense. And they don't care. Their thought here's the reality. Why does she not care what you think, Brandy? And I don't mean to be cruel. I'm just being very forward. She doesn't care what you think. Why? Her assumption is you won't vote for her anyway. So why bother? All she cares about is the 60% approval rating she has right now. And if she can keep that, she wins the election. That's all she cares about. That's all her friends care about. That's all her colleagues care about. None of them have any plan. Avi's right. None of them have any plan to fix this state. They have no plan to fix this state. Their plan is to ride it out, get as much as they possibly can before the empire burns. And you get in the way. And if you're not going to stop them, whatever. There's no plan to fix anything. Of course not. It's just more money, more money. They literally raised our budget to almost $220 billion with no way of paying it back or raising that money. None. And no plan to even make things better. And it's still just worse. The city's a disaster. People are leaving. People leaving the state. They're flooding out of New York State. Nothing's changed. Yes. Okay. Nicholas agrees. Makes no sense. 100%. Logic says, not even 30 seconds and I'm cringe. How does this lady really win in winning in the polls? People really just want her to be their mom, I guess. I think that's it. I guess that's it. Rebecca says, I work at a large pharmacy. My manager said the company is giving employee testing kits if they want them. I have no need for all of them, so I plan to sell them to friends who want them for their kids and were stressed and struggling to find Tesla last week. Aw, Rebecca, that's wonderful. Look how good you are. I like that. Dan says, my wife and I are vaccinated, but I won't let them get near my children with that vaccine. The risk is higher of something happening to them from the vaccine than the virus. This is a real issue, Dan. And this is the thing that I realized, right? And look, the pushback that I sometimes get is, but Larry, some parents will make mistakes and blah, blah, blah. Yes, because we're human. And some parents will make mistakes. I will make them. You will. Yeah, but I have to trust somebody with children, right? Someone has to guard the kids. Someone does. And if I have to make a decision on who am I going to trust, some governor or the parent, I'm always going to err on the side of the parent. The parent could be wrong. We make mistakes. We're human. But if the parent makes mistakes, several things happen. One, it's only one or a couple of kids affected, not millions. Two, the odds are lower they'll make a mistake because they're going to do the homework or care about their kids. They're not going to do things that are bad for their kids to the best of their ability. They're going to do what they think is best for their kid because they love their kids. I know my very brave stance on the vast majority of parents love their children. So yes, you can do what you can as best as you possibly can. So if you decide that the risk is higher for your child to get or not get the vaccine, you should take that upon the risk. You know your child better than me. That is my assumption, Dan, that you know your kids better than I do. I know, crazy. So you should be deciding whether they should get them or not. Now, if your kids have pre-existing conditions or if they're immunocompromised, you might change your mind. But who would know that? You. I know this sounds so common sense, but it's exactly the opposite of what we're doing. It's the opposite of what we're doing. It is that if we put it in government's hands, then nothing can go wrong. When the reverse is true, and when something goes wrong, it's catastrophic. To where if one individual messes up and they make the wrong choice with a child, and I'll say something even more horrible. If one individual messes up with their child, they're the person who has to live with that, not everybody. Which is terrible, but it's one or two people have to live with that mistake they made, and they will have to work on it, fix it, and they're going to go out of their way to repair the error they made. If you messed up with your kid, you know that you're going to go out of your way to fix it. Like it's going to be your life mission to fix this thing. If she screws her kids up, she walks away a couple years and goes, whatevs. Cuomo devastated this state for 10 years. He walked away with millions of dollars and said, whatevs, and walked away with $20 million in his pocket. And said, whatevs, all the damage he did. She will walk away too if she screws us over. But if it's your kid, you won't walk away from your kid. You will do whatever it takes to make things right if you screwed up your kid. You know it if you're a parent, what I'm talking about. This is not rocket science. I don't have to have a doctorate in psychology to figure this out. This is just everyone gets this. So, yes. So Christine says the World Health Organization is saying boosters are worthless. I've heard some stuff about that. I don't know the details, but I've heard that people aren't jumping in down about it, that they still get it anyway, even with the boosters. I've been hearing that. Absolutely. So, yeah. Glenn says, I read last month, 95% of the pediatric hospitalizations were kids with pre-existing conditions. You have to have a lot of comorbidities as a kid. I think the lowest is like 4 or something. I don't remember exactly the amount, but it's something like that. The average healthy kid doesn't even care. They don't even notice it. So yeah, let me grab. Let me wrap up. I think you'll enjoy a little bit of the Q&A. I think you'll enjoy a little bit of that. I'll wrap this up with some of the Q&A. Watch how she responds. Just a little bit.
Any questions? If it's all about how these microscopes work and telescopes work, please do not ask me.
Okay, what's her question?
Governor, the Massapequa Board of Education in Nassau County here.
Yep. The Board of Education in Nassau County is basically saying no, because their executive was like, nope, we're not doing the mask mandate. The kids decide.
Last night they passed a motion giving staff and students the option of whether to wear a mask or not in school.
Yep.
Starting on February 21st.
Yep.
This is a direct contradiction of your statewide order. What is your reaction?
Yep. But for those who don't hear, what he's saying is in Nassau County, they've said you don't have to wear a mask unless your option. Choose what you want to do what you want to do. Direct violation of her order. Her order is all of them must. And Nassau County said, nope, you decide. What are you going to do about it? Yeah, this is what he's asking.
And what do you plan to do about this?
What are you going to do about this?
Secondly, we also have on Long Island here, Connecticut High School, where the teachers union says that the situation is, quote, out of control.
Now, he also mentioned it's a specific school, a high school, Connecticut High School, by the way, close to where I grew up as a teenager. I actually lived on Connecticut Avenue as a teenager in Suffolk County. So he brings up the teachers there. The union says,
with most students walking the halls with the mask under the nose or the chin or no mask at all.
He's saying that the teachers union's mad because the students are running around without the masks on. They're keeping them down. They're fighting them. They're saying, no, they're not doing it. The masks are off. They're not doing it. The kids just doing whatever they want in this school. And the teachers unions are mad. This goes back to my point. They're not protecting kids. They're protecting teachers. And I'm not against them protecting teachers. We should protect everybody, to include teachers. Let's just be honest about it and create a system that protects teachers that might be in a bad category. Why can't we do that? Instead of pretending it's about the kids or the parents or something, nothing they're saying makes any sense to take care of parents or kids.
Again, what do you plan to do about this direct challenge to your authority?
He says, what do you plan to do against this direct challenge against your authority?
Okay, so first of all, I'm not a pushover, and I've not taken an action because these actions occurred yesterday. So you got to give me a little more time. I think it's been less than 24 hours since they made a.
So you're going to do something? You're going to beat them up?
So that's the reality that I'm dealing with. But also, personally, as a parent,
okay,
I find it phenomenally disappointing that people are willing to play politics with children's lives.
Hear what she just said. What a bunch of horseshit. What a bunch of virtually using children. What a horrible person you ought to say that. You're playing politics with children's lives. So to be clear, parents are more worried about politics than their children's lives. Absolute garbage, not true at all. Stop lying, and you know you're lying. Why would you even say that? What she means is, how dare they disobey me? That's what she actually means. How dare they disobey me? That's what she's actually saying. Who would believe that parents, again, is there a nutty parent out there? Yeah, of course, there's a nutty parents, of course. But I'm talking 99.9 repeating percent of parents are not going to go politics and let my kid die. Who does that? Stop this absolute lie, absolute virtue signaling. And why isn't someone there going, stop? What is wrong with you? Why would you even say some stupidity like that? Parents are not doing that. Well, I'll show the Dems and I'll let my kids die. That'll teach them. Who's doing that? No one is.
And you heard what I said. Schools were the safer place for children, not when they went home. They got sick when they went home.
So then why do you keep them home? If they're safe at school, let them go back to school. Shouldn't they spend more time at school then? That's the safe spot. You should be giving them after school programs to stay home, to stay in school longer, shouldn't you? And if that's the case, then why are the teachers so upset?
During the holidays, schools are safe. And why are they safe?
Why?
Because people have been wearing masks. Kids.
We know that's not true. Literally. Why are they safe? Because they've been wearing. No, they're safe because kids don't really pass on or get sick from COVID. That's why they're safe. It's never been a child's disease, ever. No one's fighting this because they wear masks. No. The U.S. government has said the masks don't work. That's why you have to have N95 masks. And the N95 masks are a recent addition. So for almost 2 years, we've been wearing the useless cloth mask. And I'm not saying they're useless. You're saying it. The government is saying they're useless. What you're doing right now is blatantly lying, or you're either lying or you're ignorant. I don't know which one. You're just making shit up. It's embarrassing what you're doing right now.
They're wearing masks and they're adapting to it. It's not something we're going to keep much longer. We know we don't have to.
Not much longer.
This has kept children safe And
No, it has not. I would love for anyone, if I'm wrong on this, guys, beat me up in the chat if I'm wrong on this. I would love for anyone to find me some data that shows that wearing masks has kept children safe. She just says stuff she just says it. I'm out. You know what? If you spin around and spit twice, you don't get cancer. That's just what happens, because everyone knows that. Spin around twice and spit twice, no cancer. It's how it works. You just got to do that once every full moon on Thursdays. Just do that. And there's no difference in what I just said and what she just said. No difference. No difference. I just made that up. And I'm going to say it like it's true. What's wrong? What's wrong with you people? Don't you all know that? Spin around twice, spit twice on a full moon on Thursdays, no cancer. God, we know this. I don't understand why people won't listen to me. It's the same thing. This drives me crazy. And no one's even going to question it.
A learning environment. And I fully expect school boards and other leaders to recognize how important this has been and why our children are safer. We're seeing fewer hospitalized, fewer sicker, because they've been able to be in an environment like a school where they have been enforcing this. Now, my understanding is what the first school district said was
okay. She just made all of that was garbage. All of that was garbage.
They're going to, when the state mandate lapses, according to the resolution, that they won't follow it. When you think about that, break that down, that's actually what we expect. When the state mandate lapses, I expect all school districts.
But the state mandate's not going to lapse. You and I both know that, right? We don't
have to do this anymore. So I'm not sure what they were trying to say on that front. But
okay, they're trying to tell you that you're wrong.
Newsflash, when the state requirements lapse, everybody cannot follow them any longer. So there we go. And with
Is there a February 21st expiration date on the
No, there could be before then. We don't know. I mean,
So she says, will they expire? Okay, is that expiration date? No. Is she even listening to herself? So she says they end February 21st. He says, so expiration date February 21st? No. No. Is she even listening to what she's saying? Is there anyone around? Maybe her people don't even care anymore. Her handlers are like, it doesn't matter what she says. They eat it up. She can say whatever she wants. Just let her talk. It doesn't matter. No one's paying attention. Just let her talk.
I'm going to continue to use the element of time.
The element of time.
At the right time, assess where we are.
Yeah. So
when we put this in place, we fully expected that we would have no longer a need for a mask mandate in schools until November 26th when Omicron hit.
Oh, because you guys had no idea that there would be another variant? You had no idea, even that there was already more variants? You didn't know that? And there might be another variant coming. You know that's probably going to happen. If there's already talking about one. So when that hits, you put the mandates back on again?
Because we are trending down in a beautiful way with Delta. And I foresaw on the horizon that we'd be almost done with this. And then
why is the governor making this decision?
And unforeseen circumstances. So
unforeseen.
I'd be negligent if I said now on a certain date something's going to happen. And I think people respect that. Those who are not
they don't.
Just playing politics and trying to get headlines will understand that.
Playing
and I'm going to reserve that right.
So the parents are playing politics with their children's lives, but the governor, she's not playing politics. It's those evil parents who would sacrifice their children to show that they're better Democrats, better Republicans, whatever. I don't know.
Could it be? Yes. May it not be? Yes. I don't know right now. And I don't expect to know, but I'm watching the numbers. The trend is great. The trend is great. And
so she just contradicted herself totally.
Yeah. I won't worry so much about their kids either. Vaccinated and boosted everybody over the age of 5. And in terms of what's going on in other schools, yes, we'll look into that. We're already having conversations with the state education department on making sure that these are followed because they're common sense. It's the right thing to do.
No, they're not.
It's not permanent.
It's been 2 years. It's not permanent. It's just several years. That's all to a child. Think about this. If you're 8 years old, 2 years is 25% of your life. And you probably don't remember much before 3, right? Maybe 4 and more. So 4 years old to 8 years old, so you really can remember. 2 of those years, you had to wear a mask and be punished. Half of your memory of your life is this. Not permanent. Half of your life if you're 8 years old. Guys like me, I'll get over it. I'm old man, I'll get over it. You're 8? This scars you. What's wrong with this woman?
One of the best days I look forward to, other than being done with our budget this year, is the day I can say these requirements are suspended and they did the job.
Just suspend them today. If that is what you're looking forward to, do it now. I'm in. Let's make you feel good. Do it now.
They're expected to do. We kept New Yorkers safe.
You did not. First off, you didn't keep New Yorkers safe. We had terrible numbers. Tens of thousands of us died. So you didn't keep us safe. And a bunch of those were in nursing homes, which you're sending people back to again. So please stop that. And you've sent literally 500,000 of us out of the state permanently to never return. Maybe 1 million, but sure 500,000 gone, never to return. And it's not your job to keep us safe. It never was. You made that up too. You make up lots of things. Nowhere in the Constitution, New York State Constitution, to say it's your job to keep us all safe. Nowhere in your oaths to say it. You just decided it. I love it. You just make shit up and go, that's my job now. You know what? I'm driving a bus. And when I'm driving the bus, I'm going to stand up while I'm driving the city bus, and I'm going to tell everybody in the back of the bus, all right, guys, it is my job to make sure you all know Chinese. You're like, what? Yeah. All right, get to sit down. We're all going to start learning Chinese now. They're going to be like, but Larry, you're the bus driver. Yes. And it's my job to make sure you all know Chinese. And they'll be like, we just want to get in the bus and go downtown. Yeah, but it's my job to make sure all of you know Chinese. There is literally no difference. She's just making this up. In no way is the bus driver responsible for everyone knowing Chinese. And in no way is she responsible for every New Yorker being safe. And if you are responsible, you have failed miserably. There are people in my city literally being pushed in front of trains. Pushed in front of a train, dead, stabbed in the streets. That's shot in the streets. That's happening in my city. You're failing really badly. I wouldn't be proud. I would say nothing if I had taken on this job for no reason.
Hi, Kristen Thorne with Eyewitness News. Thank you. Given all the positive trend that we're seeing, do you think the February 1st indoor mask mandate, the vaccine requirement, what is your view on that now? And also,
she says, with the trend's doing well, do you think now we can end the vaccines and the mandates in February?
Also, test to stay. Have you thought about looking at 2 to 5-year-olds, that preschool, that nursery age? They at this.
And now she's talking, this one adds on top of this. Hey, what about a 2 to 5-year-olds? Why don't we get them test to stay? Why don't we get them 2 to 5-year-olds? Because they're dying left and right of COVID? No, not at all.
They don't have any of this option. Have you thought about them in this picture?
Yeah, and I'll tell you about February 1st on January 31st. I really do need to.
I'll tell you about February 1st on January 31st. So planning in the garbage. You don't get to plan anything. I will decide when and if you can survive, day by day.
Wait until
because I'm the governor.
Trend is looking good. And I'm an optimist, but I saw a very good trend just early in November. And then everything changed. So we will let people know about that
indoor, if you can survive.
The mask or vaccination requirement, which has been, and I want to thank everybody who followed that. I mean, all the business owners and who've kept their employees safe, their patrons safe.
None of this is true. We have a horrible labor shortage in the city, in the state. Horrible labor shortage. People weren't being kept. They went home.
Their customers safe. I'm really proud of what New Yorkers have done. Primarily, I am concerned about the children as well. That's why we have deployed tens of thousands of test kits to the nursing homes, because that's a point of vulnerability. And these kids are particularly vulnerable because they can't get vaccinated. And those, we're seeing an increase, not a startling one, but an increase in children that age.
Yeah, not a startling one.
Getting infected by older siblings who bring it home from school.
So the little ones might get infected. A small.
And from other classmates and from other places. So that's a vulnerable population. But
it's not a vulnerable population.
the test to say, I think we can look at that. You know, we can definitely look at that and see whether or not we don't have
They're
to shut
not
down the
a vulnerable
nursing,
population.
the
Just
childcare. So you have someone that was, okay, yeah, okay. You first, yeah.
My child's class has been shut down once already.
class is getting shut down.
You still have to pay the nursery school and.
See that? Look at what she's saying. The classes have been shut down and you still have to pay the nursing school. This is what her policies do. If you have to pay to keep the nursing for your nursing school, you got to keep paying, and your kid has to stay home so you can't work. How are you going to pay the nursing home? I'm sorry, the nursing school. How are you going to pay for it? You can't work. You got to stay home with your kid, but still pay for it. What is wrong with these people?
You have to pay someone else to watch your child, and now we almost had another scare that it was going to be another 10 days. So this 2 to 5, they have no option at all for testing.
She said 2 to 5 have no option at all. So they got to go home. You shut the school down. You got to pay someone to watch your kid, plus pay a nursery school. Oh, I'll go back to what I said earlier on. What happens if you're wealthy? What happens if you're wealthy? You already have a nanny, so you don't care. And you probably use a service. So if your nanny gets sick, they send someone else. Someone's always watching your kid because you're wealthy and you pay someone to watch your kid. That's what you do. None of these things affect the wealthy at all. They don't care. They're like, great, lock it all down. Whatever, I don't care. I got a nanny, and I'm probably going to fly to my second home in Florida anyway, Miami, so I don't even care. Whatever. So who's hurt? The working poor and the middle class. They get their ass kicked here yet again. Yet again. And they keep voting for her.
And what I would say is we're analyzing this, and I will look at this, is that those children are not as safe as children who've been vaccinated 5 years old and up.
Yes, they are. They're not dying. This is, again, a blatant lie. She's made this up. And those kids, I mean, the odds are they're probably going to get stung by a bee. I mean, it's just, the odds are higher they're going to get stung by a bee. Maybe. I made that up too. We're all just making stuff up. Let's just make stuff up.
To me is the difference. Now, I am not satisfied with the number of children in that age group who are vaccinated. They've had months to do this.
And why do I care if you're not satisfied? Think about what she just said. This is what the governor just said, with a straight face. I am not satisfied with your parenting skills. I'm the governor of New York. I'm not satisfied in how you raise your children. I think I may have to punish you. Please tell me if I'm wrong with what she just said.
And for parents who were nervous about it, who wanted to wait until they saw a lot of other people go first, tens of thousands, across the country, hundreds of thousands of children 5 years old and up have been vaccinated successfully. And I want parents to know that this is what you can do to protect that child. And if you have...
It's not about the children. Please stop. The children are not vulnerable. It is about the elderly, not the children.
Siblings, if you have a 5 or up to older, 5-year-old and up, they've got little ones at home. They got to do that to protect them, because until the CDC says it's okay, we can't get vaccinations for those children. That's the reason why we've treated them as different categories. But I understand how hard it is on parents.
You don't understand this at all. You are wealthy. You are wealthy. You don't understand this at all. This is not an issue for you. You could have, you don't have kids anymore, but you could have put them all into private school. You would have had a nanny. Your kids are wealthy. Hubby's wealthy. You don't have to worry about this. You're the elite class. So you're saying you understand? That's a lie. You have no idea what it feels like to be stuck with a child. You don't know you have no idea what it's like to say, what the hell am I going to do? I don't know if I can go to work today. You don't know what that is. No idea.
Child care workers are the essential workers for the essential workers. Statement of fact.
Regarding the mask mandates.
Mask mandates.
The state has a particular number, whether that be like a test positivity rate or a hospitalization rate that
she's asking, does the state have a specific rate, like a test positivity rate or a hospitalization rate for the mask mandates?
Under that, the mask mandates will be lifted,
to end it.
or is the state playing that by ear?
We're not playing it by ear. We're going to be driven by data and
No,
look
you're
at what our situation was prior to the mandates
No, you're not.
and assess, was that the right number to go back to? I can't say with certainty, but that is a starting point.
I don't know why you've been
numbers
saying
before
anything,
we
but no.
instituted these. We instituted these because we saw the storm coming our way. We watched the global.
And it didn't change anything, did it?
Trends. We saw how quickly this escalated upward in other countries like England and South Africa, and we
Yep.
knew that could hit us.
Who have
That's
now
why
said
we
no.
took steps literally the day the first case
South Africa told you it wasn't a big deal, and England has removed its mandates. I don't know what you're talking about. Is anyone paying attention to what she's saying?
arrived in New York State, which was December 2nd, and announced the first series of restrictions on going up for the next couple of weeks. So I think about this a lot.
Sadly.
I'm not going to.
I wish you think about the economy more and the health of our children more and people leaving our state more and our broken education system more. There's so many things I wish you would think about more than this. So I'm very disappointed to hear that you think about us a lot, but I know you do.
Operate in a vacuum. We're going to have data and experts and people who know a lot about what the next trends are. But I am really looking forward to lifting them. I truly am.
Then just do it.
I know people are tired, but I'll say one thing about the kids. My daughter had a meltdown over having to put sneakers on to go to kindergarten. She got used to wearing sneakers in school. I mean, they adapt better than adults do.
Did you hear this is my governor. Did you hear how stupid that is? Do you understand how lost and disconnected she is? To think that wearing a mask for several years, being socially distanced from your friends for years, being acted like you're going to die if you breathe on somebody for years, in her eyes, is the same as her daughter putting on sneakers. That's the same. Because your daughter threw a fit for putting on sneakers. And she got used to it. So, they're adapted. They'll wear masks forever. That's what she just said. They'll wear masks for as long as I tell them to wear masks. They're children. They'll adapt. They will adapt to whatever I tell them to adapt to. And she's saying this with a straight face. Your kids will do what I tell them to do, and they'll adapt. So shut up. My kid, she had to put on sneakers. She got upset. So now she has sneakers on and she's fine. So wear a mask forever because they're the same thing. Look at how flippant she is. I would never say something so cold. I would never say something so flippant about someone else's kids. Might have said about my own kids, maybe, but those are my kids, and I can say what I want about my kids. I don't get to say what I want about your kids. I don't. I say what I'm about mine, not yours. And she says it with a straight face. Look at the power she has and the righteousness that she has. This is who our governor is. And the sad part is there are so many New Yorkers who think this is good for us. I'm so glad she's in charge. I'm so glad she's running our lives for us. And they'd be mad at me if they heard me saying this. Angry at me. How dare you, Larry, say these things? That was so flippant. That was so cold. That was so, I don't care what you think about your kid. And my response would be, how dare you decide what my kid's going to adapt to or not? And how do you know if my kid doesn't have some special issue? How do you know if my kid is special with breathing, or maybe they're on a spectrum, or they have a disability? How the hell do you know how my kid can handle the mask? How do you know? What if my kid is going to struggle now with seeing people's faces and understanding and reading people? Having relationships that I want my kid to have. How about that? They just adapt. Go to hell, Larry. You don't know anything about your kid. That's who we have.
And I'm really proud of the parents who made sure that their kids understood this is for their safety and got it done. But
the parents who did as I said.
We're looking forward to the day we can lift the school as well as the business requirements.
And the business requirements. That's who's my. Some of you have bad governors, but I got you beat when it comes to bad. I got you beat when it comes to bad. So, Valerie says, breaking 2 NYPD murdered and harmed. Is that right? Wow. Responding to a domestic call, I feel the blood is on Mayor de Blasio, Adams, allowing ongoing lawlessness, Governor Cuomo and Hochul laws, bail reform, less is more, damn progressive, placing New York in a shithole. Wow, I didn't hear that. I will check that out. Thank you. God, I hope that's not true. I hope that's somehow confusing or wrong. I hope, Valerie, I hope it is. It's never good when cops are killed. Never good. Nothing good comes from this. It's never good when cops are killed. And cops are rarely killed in New York City. I mean, those you don't know. I mean, like, one cop gets killed like every 2 years. It's very rare for cops to be killed in New York State. New York City. It is not a common occurrence. This happened and 2 were killed. Not a good thing. It's not going to be a good idea at all. Yes. Dan says, I have chronic sinus allergies. If I stop to get tested every time I cough and sneeze, I'll hardly do anything else but stand in line to get tested. Some people are. Nicholas says same thing. 2 MPD officers killed in New York City this evening. Jesus. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Brennan says, Larry, I don't mean to discredit Spike, but I think you're a visionary for the libertarian movement. I'm a Spike fan. There could be 2. Does that be 1? It could be 2. It could be more than 2. I hope multiples. Spike's fine. All good. There could be more than 1. This isn't the Highlander. There could be more than 1. Yes. So, all right. Let's see here. Joe says, if you don't feel well, stay home. Same as 2 years ago. I don't know why government has decided to destroy small business and mandate personal medical decisions. Agreed. And this is not public health. And of course it's a disease. If everyone spreads it, vaxxed or not, which is true, it's not public health. Everyone gets it. The question is, do you choose to get vaccinated so that you can have your symptoms be a whole lot easier? I hope if you're not in that right area, you do so, right? I hope you do. Dan, obviously, he has sinus issues, so allergy issues, so he got vaccinated. Makes sense. I'm glad you did. That's awesome. If you're in that world, you should do that. What you think is right for you. But you're going to get it no matter what. Everybody gets it. So it's no longer a public health issue. It is a private issue. You decide what makes sense for you. Yes. Brian says, my VA hospital said elective surgeries are defined as anything non-life-threatening. I had to wait a year for hernia repair. Oh, my God, Brian. You had to have a hernia for a year. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Valerie says, Ithaca definitely loves her. Yes, absolutely. It's true. And that's not New York City. That's upstate. Yes. So Jerry says, got COVID because someone didn't want to stay home. I'm sorry to hear that. Avi says, Larry, when you become governor, you need to prosecute the teachers and admins that force kids to eat outside in the cold. You know, when it comes to blame, I'm not a big blame guy. I'm not. I'm grossly forgiving. And I know I am. It's a flaw that I sometimes have. I accept that as true. I'm very forgiving. But when it comes to people who did this is not teachers. It's being forward. I'm not pandering to teachers. I'm not. I'm just telling you what's facts here. This is administrators. I've met many teachers. Teachers just want to teach. They don't want to do any of this. They got into the field to teach, not to play this game. It's the administrators who are forcing them and putting them in spots that they don't like. I'm not pandering teachers. You know I'm not pandering to them at all. I'm telling the truth. And if you know teachers, you know I'm right. Teachers don't want to do this stuff, Avi. It's administrators. That's who's doing it. Teachers just want to teach all day. They want to be in front of their kids. They don't want to do any of this stuff. But they can't do what they love unless they follow the rules. Some of them leave and quit. Some of them do this. Yes. So there we go. All right. Joe says there's an LP club in New York that supports only ours. Is that real? Yes, it is. It absolutely is. Yes, 100%. Yes. So Christine says, I'll support you from the Ozarks. Thank you. I appreciate that. Becca says, thank you for the clarification. I got worried. Unfortunately, I won't be able to make the NPLY fundraiser. I'll be out of town for my birthday. Oh, happy birthday, Rebecca. Happy birthday. I appreciate that. Yes. All right. Let's see here. I'll grab a couple more of these. Shelley says, I think it's time to protest outside media centers demanding that they investigate our government. Yeah, but they're in bed with them. I don't know. I think they're kind of in bed with them. Yeah. Joey says, been in Facebook jail for 30. Good evening. I'm glad you're back. Thank you. Yes. Kim says, the governor whom no one voted for, who is mandating everyone but criminals. Ooh, I like that. I like that. Joey says they are giving state money to schools to keep masking our kids. Accurate. Yes. Ryan says Rensselaer County says screw Kathy's mandate as well. Yes, more are. And it's better and better and better. I completely agree. Yes, it's getting better and better. So Christine says she's playing politics with children's lives. Yes. Yes. Ryan says snitches get stitches. Well done. Yes, well done. Yes. Oh, very good. All right. David says, shouldn't they sleep in the school gym and only visit parents on weekends? If you remember my plan from 2 years ago, what I literally said was, why aren't we rescinding all of the rules and regulations when it comes to nonprofits and large common rooms in places like VFWs, Elks Club, Knights of Columbus, places like that, to allow people to sleep in the common areas, right? In many places, that's against the law. It's not safe. Allow them to do it so that people who don't want to go home have a place to stay if they want to, a place they trust, local churches, whatever. Allow that to happen. Not force it, but allow it. Some people would have done that, David, if it was me, right? And I have 2 people in my life who are elderly, who are in the danger zone, over 80 with comorbidities, right? Those people, I don't physically interact. I haven't interacted with them in years, 2 years, right? Because if they get COVID, they'll die. So those people I don't really see. I mean, we still communicate, obviously, the phone and such, but I don't really see them because I don't want, they're in the over 85 with comorbidities. COVID will kill them. So I get that. I care about them. If I had to live with them, I would have slept in the church or the school gym. I would not have gone home. I would have worked and slept someplace else. I literally would not have gone home. I wouldn't want them to die. So why wouldn't we allow that for people who want to do that? Not forcing, but allow that to be someplace you could do it. You could actually have testing there if you wanted to. Or the reverse. You could create makeshift elderly camps if you wanted to. If you thought that was a better way, let your community decide what works best for them. Maybe you would want, because people can't afford, for those who can't afford to put their loved ones into nursing homes, maybe you create makeshift nursing areas in your local American Legion or something. I made that up, right? Your local, area to where you have nurses there, testing there, whatever. You could have ventilators there in theory, right? You could make them makeshift hospitals, right? You have a bunch of veterans who are trauma trained. I'm sure some of them have medical training. Fix that up. That could have worked also. All were options you could have used without doing what we did now. So, yes. All right. Let's see here. Jeremy says, Jesus H, taking a page right from Cuomo. Anytime someone defies them, it's politics or partisan. Meanwhile, it's people from her own party. Yes. Absolutely. Yes. Yes. That totally true. Totally true. Carson says N95 are useless as well in relation to Omicron spread. Oh, I didn't hear that, Carson. What I heard that was the one that worked. That's what I heard. They are now purchasing tons of them to send home with kids in California, one whose pockets are being lined with that dollars. Good for Nassau County. Yeah, you guarantee their cronies are making cash. It's just grift. It's grift, grift, grift. Absolutely. Yes. 100%. Let's see here. AJ says they are lying. We know they're lying. They know that we know they're lying and they continue to lie. Up America. We're not voting away candidates. I hope you're wrong, AJ. I do. Brother, I hope you're wrong. I am trying to not let it get there. I'm hoping that we can create a third way that begins to break this and people see differently. I hope you're wrong, my friend. I really do. I hope years from now, you're like, Larry, you were right, man. We didn't have to do anything. I hope that's what happens. I'm trying to make that happen. I want you to be wrong. That is what I'm saying. But I hear you, man. I hear you. Absolutely. So, all righty. Dan says maybe the sign language guy is secretly telling the truth. That would be awesome if he was. Wouldn't that be great? Oh my God, that would be awesome. Yes. Kim says we have to trash all this BS, just get back to normal or we'll never recover. The point you're bringing up, Kim, is a huge one. At what point is this habit, right? At what point does this become the new norm? And I think for some people it already is. I see a lot of kids who think wearing a mask is the thing. They walk around with masks all the time. Yes, crazy. Craig says, will New York ever back down? Florida, Oklahoma, Texas, all living life. VA just got rid of masking for school kids. Why do we still buy these mandates? Craig, it's shocking. It's shocking that we do, but we do. Yes, again and again and again. But people are leaving. Please don't leave yet. Let me win. So Logic says the best thing now to get votes in New York is we keep you safe. God, Queen Hochul will keep you safe. Yes. And I'm telling you, that is going to be the message. This year, you're going to see the message. The progressives saved everybody. Democrats saved everybody. Republicans were killing everybody. Democrats saved everybody. That is going to be the message. Guaranteed. Absolutely. Carson says, my first grader has never had an in-person school day without masks. Not possible for us to move or homeschool yet. But these tyrants are causing my family to make huge changes. I agree. I pulled my kid out. I homeschool my youngest. I couldn't do it anymore, Carson. I couldn't do it anymore. I never thought I'd be a homeschooler. Never thought it. Never thought it. Yes. So Jeanette says to AJ, see, we both agree. Jeanette's on my side. We're hoping you're wrong, brother. Right? We're hoping you're wrong. I hope you're wrong. Absolutely. Yes. So Craig says, Sheriff in my county today said it seems like everyone has a short fuse these days, but not sure if it's linked to the pandemic. Of course it is. You've been punishing us for 2 years. Of course it is. Absolutely. No doubt. David says, hold on. 10 days low spread. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Kim says, when your kid does not have school and you have to work, or even when it's half a day, you're screwed. Thank you, Kim. She clearly has no idea what that's like. She has no idea what that's like. Right? What happens? Right? What happens when you have to choose between your business or your job and your kid? Right? I mean, sorry. It just drives me crazy that people just don't get it and still think she's awesome. But to Valerie's point, she's out of touch. 100%. Yes, she is absolutely out of touch. Paula says she sounds more out of touch than Cuomo did. You know what? I actually would agree with that. Clearly, I was never and still am not a Cuomo fan at all. I think he's a horrible human being. But he was better at this. He was better at this. His skill set was better than hers. He was better at this. She's terrible at this. She should just stop. She's terrible. He was better at this, right? He was still a horrible human being doing terrible things, and I'm glad he's gone. So I'm not trying to say he's good. I'm just giving credit where credit was due. When it came to this kind of stuff, he was better than her at this. That is true. Yes, absolutely. Carson said, my kid tested positive twice without one symptom because of being exposed at the safe school. Never a sniffle. Everyone says the same thing. I hear that constantly. Absolutely. 100%. Yes. So, all right. Let's see here. Paula says, Kathy cannot even hide her contempt. You can feel her sneering. Yes. Oh, Paula, thank you for that. You are completely correct. She is upset at you for not obeying. What's wrong with you? Right? Absolutely. You're totally correct. Yes, you are completely correct. Jeanette says, this insanity, what country do we live in now? It isn't America. Power tripper, add on non-critical thinkers, motivated by the instilled fear. But Jeanette, I don't actually mind at all if all of this was just opinion. Look, she's the governor. You have the bully pulpit. I may not like it, but you're the governor of the bully pulpit. If you want to go and say, hey, I think everybody should, I think vaccines are the greatest thing in the world and everybody should get one, or I think you should all stay home and wear masks, she can say that all day long, and I hope people voluntarily decide to follow her. But she's not doing that. She is creating rules and regulations to shut us down, right? To shut us down and destroy us. That's different than saying her opinion is, she can have an opinion and say it every day if she wants to. And you know what, Jeanette? You and I have a choice to follow her or not. And that's fine. I wouldn't be mad at her. Like, oh, it's just her. That's what she lived. Oh, good, whatever. But it's not what she's doing. She's crushing people and crushing kids. That's a problem. That's a problem. So, all right. Anyway, I'm sorry. It's just, yeah. Okay. All right, let me grab a couple more of these if I can. Let's see here. AJ says, Larry, we want you to come speak at our state convention in Iowa. I know. I got to deal with it. I don't know if I can. I know. Elijah says, if I die, I die. I refuse to live in fear. You know, I bring this up often. There is a central theme that is really important. And that central theme is, do you own your own life? I would argue, of course you do. She would argue, no, you don't. I would argue you do. Now, of course, there's an exception here. It does what I'm doing with my life affect you, right? Obviously, that becomes gray, right? And if you're saying that I'm going to give you Ebola and you're going to die, okay, then maybe we have an issue. Maybe there's a question. Maybe there is. But what we know now is no matter what we do, everybody's going to get it. Masks, vaccinated, we're still spreading it and getting it. Everywhere across the world, no matter what we've done, people still get it and people still spread it. That still happens. So since that's going to happen, no matter what we do, the question is, do you want to give yourself a vaccine and for your children? I'll ask again. Do you own your own life? I would say yes. Yes. It is my opinion that if you are in that demographic that COVID destroys, you should get vaccinated. That's my opinion. And that's all it is. And you can decide if you think that's correct or not correct. It's my opinion that if your child has some pre-existing condition that would affect your immune system, you should get vaccinated. That's my opinion. And that's all it is. It is my opinion. And you can go, yes, Larry, I agree. Or you can go, no, Larry, I don't agree. And we can move on. Done. That's what I would say if I was the governor now, because that's what I believe. I would tell you what I think, my opinion, but I'm not running for the doctor in chief. I'm not running to run your life and have the bully pulpit, which I would use and give you my opinion. And you can do what you like with it. I hope you listen to me. And maybe you will and maybe you won't. But I'm not going to force you because I don't own your life. You own your life. And if you die, you die. I don't want you to die. And I would tell you things. And I use this often. I'll say it again. I told you I have two people in my life who are at that area, over 85, pre-existing conditions. Both of them are practicing Christians. They go to church relatively often. And when this happened, I asked them, I said, please don't go to church. I was scared for them. I said, please don't go to church. Find another way, right? Go online, call your friends, do a conference call, find another way, please. Watch some shows on TV, whatever. Worship in another way if you could. That's what I asked. Both of them agreed and didn't go. But if they had said, Larry, I want to go. I need you to drive me. I would have. Even though I didn't want them to go, I would have driven them. Why? Because they own their life. And if they think that that's important to them and more valuable to them and they're prepared to gamble or roll the dice, it's their life. I don't get to decide. I'll tell my opinion, but I would have done it. I tell the story often also. My mother, when she was dying, this many years ago, prior to COVID, she had cancer and she was immunocompromised. And she wanted to go out and take my daughter, her granddaughter, out and have a good time with her. And she's still a doctor. She goes, look, I care about quality of life, not quantity. So she told her doctor. And she wanted to make sure that she was able to spend time with her granddaughter. And she took her granddaughter to a amusement park. And the doctor was like, you got to wear, and she had to wear the N95 mask. That was back then she had to wear that. The doctor said, if you go and you catch something, your immune system, chemotherapy shot. You catch the flu, you're going to die. My mom was like, okay. I accept that. And her words were, if I can't spend time with my granddaughter, then why am I alive? That's my mom. That's what she believed. And you know what? She was right because it's her life. And if you don't believe that, you're right too. You own your life. I'm sorry. I hate to spend so much time on this, but it matters to me tremendously. This is an important part of people being happy and people caring. You own your own life. That's it. Yes. So, all right. Let's see here. If I can keep going down here. Tom says, my governor in Illinois gets a slice of tests as well. Grifters. Of course. Yes, of course they do. Yes. So, yes. Ryan says, the only ones crying about people leaving New York are Republicans because only Republicans are leaving. I'm going to go so far as to say that's one of the reasons why Florida is red now, so solidly red. Go back 20 years. Florida was a swing state. 15 years, swing state. 10 years, swingish state. Now, red. Why? Everybody from California, Illinois, and New York went to Florida. All the Republicans went there, and now it's red. Yeah, they all packed up and left. Yes, absolutely. So, yes. All right. Adrian says she's mad at us in Long Island because we're revolting. It's true. Absolutely. Yes. Yes. Bully pulpit is what it's called. The bully pulpit. It's from Teddy Roosevelt. Bully was a word that was a positive word, like good, like bully is good. And the pulpit is like where you go to preach. So it was the good pulpit, known as the bully pulpit. Yes, absolutely. Larry's complaining. I am complaining. Yes, yes. Lodge says, question, Larry, in your opinion, is there a way to get through to the citizens that want to be ruled and agree with authoritarianism to the degree that Hochul is at it and beyond? Yes. The reality of it is most people who support her just think she is the best option. If we can show people a better option, they'll come to us. They have to believe in a better option. That's really what it is. They have to believe in a better option. If they don't, they're going to stay with what they have. That's the issue right there. They're going to stay with what they have. So, guys, I want to say again, if I could, please like, comment, share. It does matter. Absolutely. And of course, please go to libertarianism.com. Libertarianism.com. So you can click that link right there, share that, go there, take some of the tests, share it, get some cool merch. They support the show. Please support the show. It does matter. If you want to support me running around New York, LarrySharpe.com/donate supports me also. I appreciate it. We're going to be rocking and rolling come here real soon. Hopefully we'll see some big changes here in February. Guys, thank you so much for today. I appreciate all your time, and I will see you all next week.